Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
McSherman is a demon.
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is another ATS News live stream. Moderators, please let me know if you can hear me okay. This is part 3. We have dug into up to around 50-something pages. Again, some of them are just pages that we ended up skipping because there was no narrative or supplemental report. So let me just share my screen right away. And thank you all for being here. If you could just hit the thumbs up, it'd be greatly appreciated. So these documents are very disturbing. So I do have to give you guys a warning. Obviously, this case, thank you, moderators. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, Melly, Johnny, Pointer Lover, Debbie Fox is here. Brody, all my friends are here. Sherry, hi, guys. Zoe. Okay, so again, we left off around here in the documents. And hold on, let me just find it on my screen. So we'll just read a little bit more of this stuff, and then we'll look at video covering this case by Vinnie Politan. We won't watch the whole thing, just to get a little bit of insight from people on his panel. And yeah, so that's the plan for tonight's live stream. These pages I'm just going to skip through. Okay, here we go with another incident report. Again, we have read Jen Soto's interview thus far. We have gone through other stuff pertaining to Stephan's hey Seth, what he had to say in his interview. So it's good to see everybody. Let's just get right into this stuff. All right, so hold on. Let me just turn my camera off while I read. All right, so on February 28th, 2024, Detective Robert Fisher responded to, and then a redacted address, for the purposes of distributing missing flyers and reviewing video at the complex to look for relevant content. Upon arriving at the complex, I passed out flyers at the following addresses. And then it gives those addresses. I then went to the office to review video. I observed the following. So this is video that he observed. And this is another narrative written by another officer. Somebody separate than what we've gone through before. So it might still be similar stuff that we've read, but this is somebody else's supplemental report. I then went to on February 26, 2024 at 7:35 hours, videos that captured the trash compactor at the property show a male determined to be Stephan Sterns wearing a red t-shirt and a dark colored hat worn backwards arrived in a Lincoln sedan. Sterns threw a white trash bag filled with items inside the trash compactor before pulling away. A female believed to be Madeline is visible in the front seat. Her head is visible, tilted on her left shoulder, and her mouth was open. Hold on, let me just make sure that we haven't already read this. Because I know that we have. No, we haven't read this one. Okay. And her mouth was open. She was belted into the seat. At 8:19 hours, a Lincoln sedan appears at the front gate where the driver Stearns interacted with a security guard before being allowed to enter the gate at the front of the complex. Additional video collected from the rear rental office, which captured the roundabout, showed the female believed to be, and then that's redacted, Madeline, in the same position as the previous video at 7:36 hours. At 8:31 hours, a silver Lincoln exited the back gate. The video captured the female still in the same position as the other videos, still in the front seat, passenger side. Due to difficulties with the wireless cameras at the rear of the complex, I was not able to obtain further video of the vehicle entering or exiting the back gate. Reviewing the front gate video, I did not observe the silver Lincoln come, and then it says cake. Lincoln, I think it's supposed to say back, coming back through the front gate between 8:30 and 16:40 hours. At 16:35 hours, multiple cameras captured Stearns arriving to the trash compactor in the silver Lincoln sedan. Stearns is wearing what appears to be a blue shirt and dark colored hat worn backwards. Stearns walked to the compactor, opened the door, and returned to his vehicle. Stearns removed a damaged tire, what appeared to be the tread of the tire with no walls. Stearns threw the tire into the compactor. I'd submitted the video, which captured on cell phone, to evidence.com under the case number. And then it just talks about where this video was given to. Scrolling down. On February 26th, the Orange County's Sheriff's Office was made aware of a missing juvenile. The juvenile, madelinesoto, was reported to have last been seen, and then it's all redacted, within Orange County, Florida. Deputy Frankie Joseph responded to the, it's redacted as well, and met with reporters Stephan Michael Stearns, step-parent, and then this is, of course, redacted again, but we know that it's Jennifer Soto, and it says parent. Again, we kind of raised questions in our last live stream why Jen Soto is completely redacted in all these. Hold on, I'm looking at your guys' comments too. Give me 1 second. So, her being redacted in these documents, we were wondering if perhaps she was being, treated as a witness. So that's why her identity is protected. We don't know that for sure, but it just makes me wonder. Okay, unknown Reno asked, Amber, do you agree if Maddie was still alive and this information came out, Stephan Stearns and Jennifer would be held accountable, but because Maddie has passed, it's as if Jen Soto is forgiven? I'm not sure. I know that they put out a statement a couple of weeks ago basically saying that they were still investigating things and they couldn't really release all the information just yet because the investigation was still very much active and ongoing. Yeah, I know the video sounds terrible, and it's just the stupidity of it too. With cameras being everywhere, with him living in that complex, how do you not realize that you're probably being recorded right then and there? But then think about it too. He says in his media interviews and his police interviews that she was asleep. So I feel like he thought that, oh, she's asleep is going to cover the tracks of them being caught on camera and her being slumped over. But like we stated before, her being slumped over to the left side in the passenger seat belted in is very unusual, because if you are going to sleep in the car, you're going to lean up against the door, which is not your left side. And hello, Joey Brooklyn. Good to see you. Great live stream today. I enjoyed watching you, Crab. Thank you, Seth. I appreciate that as well. I know that there's been rumors that he was selling stuff on Telegram and stuff like that, the material, but I just don't know 100%. Yes, off topic, but the Karen retrial was everything, a ton of fun to watch. Looking forward to the verdict. Yes, I was sucked into it. I watched attorney Melanie Little's reporting of it the entire time. I want to do a panel tomorrow night on Karen Reed and kind of just talk about the recap and everything. Hey, Marshall, Dove, and Tony, good to see you guys. Dustin's here. Carol freaking Claus is here. So I am waiting to hear back from Jay, my moderator, and Valerie, my moderators, because we all have been watching the Karen Reed trial. And I want to do a, oh, thank you, Reno. I appreciate that. I want to do a live stream just talking about the case in general for Karen Reed. So that hopefully will be tomorrow night. So I hope you guys join us then for that. Okay, so back to these documents. On February 28th, 2024, I, Detective Rembis Likari, I was informed of the incident and responded to, then this address is redacted, to assist in the investigation. I first located the neighborhood's dumpster, which was behind the basketball courts. The dumpster had a trash compacting function that did not allow for me to see the contents other than a couple of bags that were yet to be compacted. I observed several cameras in the area that pointed at the dumpster. I then assisted with a door-to-door area canvas and missing juvenile flyer distribution at the following addresses. So these are all the addresses that he went to. At redacted, I made contact with Barbara and Gerald Belmore and interviewed them. I later returned to their residence and conducted a consensual audio recorded sworn interview. I uploaded the recorded interview into evidence via Axon. The following is a summary of those interviews. Barbara and Gerald have spent their winters and springs at the complex for the past 8 years and know, and then it has redacted names. I want to say, maybe Madeline and her mother, but I don't know. Resided with her, and then it's redacted, and her mother for many years and helped raise, I want to say it's Madeline, but I don't know. A few years ago, somebody moved out and somebody married somebody's stepfather. Barbara and Gerald believe Stephan worked out of town because they arrived at the complex in December 2023 and they had not seen him until approximately a week ago. Barbara and Gerald were unsure what kind of vehicle he drove, but they had seen him a couple days back going into Jennifer's white vehicle. They described Stephan as a tall white male with a full beard that usually wears a baseball cap backwards. According to Barbara and Gerald, Madeline never walked home to or from school. Jennifer drove her to and from every day. However, they did not remember seeing her return from school on Monday or Tuesday. They believed the last time they saw her was Saturday or Sunday when she was walking the family dog, which caught their eye because Jennifer usually walked the dog. Jennifer, or it must be Jennifer because Stephan's name isn't redacted. So interesting that Jennifer, these neighbors who are, it sounds like they're snowbirds, which for people who don't know, they're people who go to Florida in the winter months to get away from like the snow and stuff up north. It sounds like they believe that Jennifer's usually the dog walker. And remember, in Jennifer's interview that we read through, I think in part 2, maybe even partly in 1, they talk about how Stephan walked into Jennifer Soto's room that morning to get the dog leash, and Jen got up to help Stephan with the leash. So why all of a sudden, if neighbors who are consistently, observing them for years at a time, why all of a sudden is Stephan deciding to walk the dog that morning when Jennifer seems to be the one who usually walks it? And here they noticed that it was kind of odd on Saturday and Sunday when they seen Madeline walking the dog. So already there's kind of red flags for these people that Madeline's seen walking the dog. And then looking back at on everything that we learned in Jen's interview, it's interesting that not only does Stephan get up that morning to drive Madeline to school, which it seems from these people's account, usually Jennifer did that, but he's deciding to take it upon himself to walk the dog of all mornings that morning. I'm wondering if they ever even caught Stephan walking the dog that morning. Like, what is this whole had to go in that room to grab the leash? And that Jen got up to help him find the leash, but she never got up to actually see Madeline that morning, according to her police interview. She never saw her, and she heard voices in the kitchen, but she wasn't sure if the voices were the roommates or Madeline. And then when Jen Soto is on the media, she tells us that she saw her getting dressed that morning. And then, as we know, she says that she was wearing black shorts. And then come to find out, she's found at the crime scene wearing blue jeans. And through these paperworks, I think in part 2, we've seen the evidence that was pulled from Stephan's car. And in that evidence were black shorts and pink, it says, undergarments. So just a lot of different, the purple one's opinion is she's a lying sack of poop. I find it very strange too. Like she's looking more suspicious every day to me. Yeah. So these people who know this area and know this family just from living near them, like when you live in a complex, you guys know, like you get to see people's routines pretty closely, more so I feel than when you live in a neighborhood, because these condos and apartment complexes are very, very tight knit, very close quarters, etc. So they think it's strange even seeing Maddie walk the dog. Now, looking back on things that we've read, it's strange that Stephan decides he's going to walk the dog that morning and he's going to take her to school. So already it's just, there's a lot of things that seem out of the norm that morning. And of course we know why, because Stephan was trying to cover his tracks, but Jen is sprinkled into these kind of tracks that he's trying to, cover up and stuff. Like she's there when he drives back to get his ticker or whatever. She's there. She was supposed to go with him, or he was supposed to go with her to pick up Maddie, and he got a flat tire. And it's weird. Like they're both intertwined with this day. And yet at the same time, with being intertwined, Jen has also been able to remove herself from certain things. So if that makes sense. All right. So here's another incident report. This is also talking about Barbara and Gerald, those neighbors. On Monday night, Barbara looked through her window and observed 3 people at, I don't know if that says, it says Jennifer's door. You can see the R at the end. 3 people at Jennifer's door. One of them was an adult male. So this is Monday night. This is when she's already gone missing. One of them was an adult male, one an adult female, and she was unsure about the third one. Barbara saw one of them Barbara saw one of them high someone. I don't know if that's supposed to be hug. There's a little bit of typos in here, which is fine. It happens. Barbara saw one of them hug someone, I'm going to guess, instead of hi. It caught Barbara's eye because neither family does not have many visitors. Interesting. So they're the type of people that don't really have guests over. And think about, it's so sick, but think about everything that was kind of going on in those rooms with Madeline and Stephan. I mean, I guess that would kind of explain why they're not having guests over. Barbara and Gerald described Madeline as a sweet girl, adored by her grandfather. They added she was a homebody and very polite. At the conclusion of the area canvass, I responded to the clubhouse, where I met with detectives and reviewed surveillance video from the dumpster areas and front gates, to include a video in which a security guard made contact with Stephan on the morning of the incident. The security guard was later identified as, and that guy's name is redacted, he will likely be a witness at the trial as well. Alex was contacted, then they just put his name out there. Okay, so he was contacted and he responded to the clubhouse where he was interviewed by Detective Kyle. I was present during the interview. Interesting. I'm curious what he had to say. I don't know if it'll be in here. Just looking through this stuff. Okay, this is more information about the trash and the waste management and how all that was collected. Let's read through it anyways. So this is the 28th. So 2 days later, on February 28th, I responded to, and that's all redacted, assisted with the investigation of Madeline's disappearance. Upon arrival, I assisted with canvassing the area for video and handing out flyers to residents. While on scene, it was determined the community trash compactor had not been picked up since her disappearance. Interesting. So that is good news for them. I located the trash compactor in the community to and established custody of it until Waste Management arrived for their regularly scheduled pickup. I then followed the trash compactor, and then it gives the address where the compactor was emptied. Contact was made with Waste Management's director, Antonio Roman, who provided a separate area for the compactor to be emptied. Antonio was provided an approximate date and time that Stephan Stearns was seen throwing a tire into the compactor. Based on that information, Antonio was able to provide an approximate location the tire would be located in the contents of the compactor. So again, we've kind of read some of these reports that are like this, but each one that we read is kind of narrated a little bit differently because they're obviously written by different officers. So I hope you guys don't mind that we're kind of going to read some of the same information, but at the same time, it's not like it's worded differently. The Orange County Sheriff's Office Forensics Unit responded to the location and was able to locate the intact tread of a tire, which they advised the tread pattern matched the rear passenger tire of Stephan's vehicle. So a lot of people were wondering and theorizing, did he really have a flat tire? I mean, at this point, I do think that it was a real flat tire. Like it wasn't staged so that he had an excuse to dump her at that location in case he was seen. Like he's not smart enough to stage all that. Roxanne's here. Hey, how are you doing? From the camera footage at the insurance place, no one was comforting nor concerned for Jen. That says a lot, in my opinion. Yeah, that was weird to see. Not even, and again, Stephan with his arms crossed. He wasn't even trying to put on a show of like, oh, honey, let me rub your back. But yet we see her rubbing his back in a media interview. Very strange. Amber, will you do a documentary? Amber will do a documentary. I hope Amber does the Micah Miller case. We've looked into the Micah Miller case very extensively, and I just seen today that they released more information about her autopsy to the public. I shared it in my Facebook group, and they are sticking by the results that, hold on, let me show this to you guys with the camera on. They are sticking with she unalived herself. So again, like I said in my, somebody else asked me if I was still going to cover this case. I know FBI are involved. I'm waiting to kind of hear back from what the FBI kind of conclude because there is no new information regarding that case besides drama with her ex-husband. Some people don't believe that that's, you know, how she met her demise. Obviously, I have questions, but until we get something from the FBI, I mean, it's not a criminal investigation until I hear that he's being arrested or looked into something nefarious. So I don't know, guys. It just seems like there's not much new information when it comes to that that case. So, like I said, if things turn different and there's more criminal information being put out, I will definitely keep digging into that case. But it just seems like everything right now is still being portrayed as she did this to herself. Therefore, there's not much for me to cover here on a true crime channel, even though I do think that the pastor kind of pushed her to that place, and he definitely was harassing her and, everything, abusing her pretty much before she met that demise. Okay, so back to this page. The Orange County Sheriff's forensic units responded. Okay, so they located the tire. So I believe it was a real flat tire personally. The crime scene investigators located a white trash bag that contained a black backpack with appeared to be purple Hawaiian print and a white crock. Inside the backpack, CSI located an Orange County public school computer with Madeleine's name on it. Based on this, it was determined the backpack and its contents belonged to Madeleine. The forensics units collected the tire, backpack, and crock. Detectives and then the address is redacted, provided photos of the surveillance video showing Stephan throwing a similar looking trash bag into the compactor at 7:30 in the morning on February 26. Antonio signed the consent and search portion of the waivers and affidavits form, which provided consent for the Orange County Sheriff's Office employees to search the waste management property and trash to collect the evidence. This concluded my involvement in the case. So, like I said, some of the same information we knew before. He's seen throwing out bunch of stuff. White bag, tire. So this right here, gray graphic tank, top, infinite, clothes, fur, gray graphic tank top. So it seems like there were some things collected, clothing items. I wonder if they were his. Oh, wait, this might explain some. Incident report. While conducting a canvass in the area of Gateway Avenue and Gifford Boulevard, Orlando, Florida, 32821, Orange County Sheriff's Office Detective Christine Shaw and I discovered a gray tank top near the bank of a retention pond that was located approximately 50 feet east of the aforementioned intersection. This shirt was approximately 10 to 15 feet west of the bank of the retention pond. The graphic shirt was photographed and later placed into a secure Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence locker. So looks like they found a piece of clothing. Doesn't really say if it's like a male's or female's. So it's on the bank of a retention pond. So that's interesting. And what is it written on it? Like, I don't get what this is. Infinite? Does anyone know what that is? Hey, Bella, good to see you. I know. And that's the thing too, is like we're kind of stuck on digging into this case because I feel like she has kind of captured us in a way. Like we want to know more about her outside of this horrific stuff that happened to her. We kind of want to just know, like, there's, she's just a victim. For me, she's somebody that I want to know more about. Like, she's kind of touched my heart in a way. Yes, Stephan is an absolute monster, liar, psychopath. Jen is right there with him, with her utter contempt of reality, absurd behavior, and karma will have its way. This poor girl, no chance. I know. Why is Jen Soto not arrested already? Right, where is she? I heard they found, yes, we read that last time, Zoe. They found black shorts and pink undergarments. So the pink undergarments, I don't know if it's bra underwear or if it's just underwear. And it's interesting that that they found the black shorts when Madeleine's mother says that she was wearing black shorts, and then Stephan says she was wearing blue or black pants. She's found in blue jeans. So at some point, somebody changed her. And it's also interesting that the mother even described what she was wearing, considering when we read through her police report, she never saw her that morning, even though she told the media she did. All right, scrolling down. So we know they found some gray tank top near a retention pond. On February 27th, I was assigned to assist Detective Maria in reference to a missing juvenile, 13-year-old madelinesoto, who was last seen on February 26th at, and then all that's redacted, neighbor canvas. I was tasked with assigning deputies to areas to conduct a neighborhood canvas to locate any witness. The following are a list of addresses deputies went to and their findings. So I'm just going to kind of scroll. I'm not going to read every single one, but I will point out the ones that had something to say. Some of them say resident has never seen her, and then other ones say no one answered the door. Okay, so it looks like there was nothing really captured in that canvas, nothing of value. They either didn't see her or they never answered the door. More right here. Same for that page. Same for that page. Same. Doesn't look like many people saw much, and doesn't seem like many people even answered their door. Okay, it just keeps going on. Nothing really interesting on these pages, guys. No one's seen anything. Okay, hold on. We're getting down to the search warrants. On February 28th, 2024, I authorized an exigent, and then it's redacted, search warrant for the phone numbers, redacted phone numbers, and redacted. The search warrant was signed by Judge Reginald Whitehead of the 9th Judicial Circuit, Orange County, Florida. The signed warrant was provided to the electronic surveillance support team to be served to the service providers. Electronic surveillance support team, we're just going to say ESST from now on, provided the results of pen register, trap, and trace device search warrant for the phone numbers, and they are attached to this report. On February 28, 2024, I authorized, and it's another search warrant, in reference to, and then it says, I want to say it's Madeline's Instagram account. The search warrant was signed by Judge Whitehead. I submitted the signed search warrant to Meta Incorporation's law enforcement portal. On March 1st, I received a response from Meta Incorporated, and they advised they denied the warrant in reference to the Instagram account. Weird. On February 28th, I authored an exigent search warrant for the vehicle, 2010 Nissan Sentra with the license plate. So that's Jen's vehicle. The search warrant was signed by Judge Whitehead. The signed warrant was provided to OCSO Homicide Unit to be executed. On March 1st, 2024, I conducted the search warrant, returned to clerk of the courts for the search warrant for the vehicle, white 2010 Nissan Sentra with the license plate, and that's redacted. On February 28th, I responded to 13295 Hartzog Road, Winter Garden, Florida, room 239. I checked with the hotel staff, and they advised room 239 was checked in by Stephansterns, and they had already checked out the room on February 28th at around noon. Stephan had rented the room for only one night. The hotel staff allowed me to inspect the room. The room had not been cleaned by housekeeping yet. Oh, well, that's interesting and lucky. I observed no personal belongings left behind in the room. I took no further action on this case. Okay. I'm going to check with chat as soon as I read this other incident report. Okay, guys. On February, sorry, I can't really read I can't see you guys in chat while I'm reading. So just bear with me. I'll touch base with your guys' thoughts and share them as well. On Thursday, February 29th, 2024, while conducting a canvass in the area of Gateway Avenue and Orangewood Boulevard, I, Detective Alicia, located exterior cameras of the Exxon gas station at the address of 5051 Gateway Avenue, Orlando, Florida. The camera appeared to be pointed to the street area. Upon review, I located what appeared to be a silver white car traveling eastbound at approximately 9:16 hours on February 26, 2024. The vehicle appeared to have no tint on the windows, as you can see through the windows as it drives by. A copy of this video was submitted to Exxon. This concludes my involvement. So curious if Madeline was in the car still at that time. Doesn't say. All right. Yeah, I agree, Kristen. She said, I don't think the tire was a part of the plan. I think that gave him away more than anything. I do too. And part one, we read that there was even somebody who stopped to help him with the tire. And they called in and gave their tip or whatever they had to say. And they identified him as, Stephan Stearns. So not only did he get this flat tire, but there was somebody who seen he was struggling changing it and stopped to help him. So I know that Gray Hughes and some other people thought that it was all, oh, he faked this flat tire so that when he's seen in the area by cars where her body was dumped, he had an excuse to say like, oh no, see, I got a flat tire. It's like, no, he's not that smart. This whole thing, I think, like you guys said, and we all know, like premeditation can happen within just like 5 minutes, like coming up with a plan. But I feel like this was a crime that wasn't meant to happen, and it did happen, and everything was just shambles after it took place. Yeah, I think it was divine intervention, if you guys believe in that. Bad luck, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I don't think it was part of the plan. If Jen isn't guilty, she's doing a great job of making herself look that way. Right. I know. And we all know guilty people hide. Hello, Chris Watts' mistress. Anybody seen her in the past 6 years? Yeah, she did. I agree. Yep. Okay, guys, let's see what else there is to read. Yeah, and then that was the other thing that we read in his interviews. I think it was last time we read part 2. They took pictures of his hands and there was like cuts around his hand area, and he blamed it on changing the tire. Now that's something I think was part of the struggle. I don't think it was from the tire. Yeah, Jen had to have known something was going on. Seriously. For her to say in her police interview that she didn't see Madeline that morning, and then for her to tell the media she saw her getting dressed. Why do you lie? Why would a mother lie? That's where I'm really hung up on. Something as small as that little lie. I mean, I'm obviously hung up on the fact that she didn't watch her daughter go to school that day or make sure she had everything with her, and she ends up leaving her phone behind. Oh, she does that from time to time because she's ADHD. So why are you not getting your butt up and making sure she has all her stuff with her? Just doesn't make sense. And another thing that really irks me too about Jen is when she goes to pick Madeline up and Madeline's not coming out of the school, she decides to email the teachers. Who waits for an email back when their child is missing? Who isn't calling right away? That to me was another thing that's like, wait a minute, what is going on? because she can't keep her lies straight. Okay, here we go. On Wednesday, hold on. Drink a little bit of water. Okay. Okay, February 27th, Detective Freeze. So we haven't heard from Detective Freeze up until this point either. Responded to an area of 5244 Los Palma Vista Drive, Orlando, Florida. Upon my arrival, I made contact with Deputy Andrews, who advised that pieces of unknown article had been located near the pond that sits behind the residence. Okay, so this pond is behind the residence and other homes in the neighborhood. Photos of the items was taken by Deputy Andrews. Contact was made with the homeowner, Yolanda Nunez, who advised she did not recognize the article. Okay. So not the item, these clothing items didn't belong to the homeowner nearby. The article is a soft cloth material, which is yellow in color. So this is different than the gray tank top found. The item was ripped in 3 different pieces. This concludes my involvement in the case. Now, we don't know if these items have anything to do with anything, but we know that they were obviously documented and thrown into these files. So it could be something. It might come out that it's not. They're obviously going to test the DNA and all that. On March 1st, 2024, Orange County Sheriff's Office Violent Crimes Detective Leonard Jones was tasked with assisting in the investigation. After Jones received a short briefing on the latest details in the investigation, he responded to an area of Destination Parkway and John Young Parkway in canvas for evidence. During that time, Jones responded to Holiday Inn Club Vacations, located at, and then it gives the address. Upon arrival, Jones made contact with the business's corporate facilities senior manager, Jeremy Garcia, who allowed Jones to review their surveillance footage from February 26, 2024. According to the surveillance footage, Jones discovered that approximately 9:40 hours, so 9:40 in the morning, the gray/silver Lincoln, his car, Stephan's car, turned onto the above business's property from Emissary Avenue, then proceeded to the parking garage. At approximately 9:41 hours, the vehicle arrived on the top level of the parking garage, then backed into a parking space. See, it's never a good thing when we see a car backing into a spot. I know a lot of people back into things, but if you follow true crime and you see a car or we hear about a car backing into a spot, it's always something's going on, because obviously they want their eyes on everything in front of them. They don't want anybody behind them watching them without them knowing who's watching them. At approximately 9:42 hours, a fair-skinned white, oh, that must be Stephan. I don't think he's been out in the Florida sun ever. Wearing what appeared to be a dark hat, reddish shirt, and tan pants, exited the vehicle from the driver's seat, then walked to the back of the vehicle and opened the trunk. I think we know what happens next. The male then walked to the front passenger side of the vehicle, opened the door, then proceeded to carry what appeared to be a limp female body to the trunk of the vehicle. At approximately 9:44 hours, the same male subject entered the driver's seat of the same vehicle, then drove away. The vehicle was then seen exiting the parking garage from the ground level, then leaving the business's property onto Emissary Avenue. Jones then collected the surveillance footage as well as a signed business record certification from Garcia to be later placed into evidence at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. So, why at some point does he decide that he doesn't want her in the passenger seat strapped in, quote unquote, sleeping? I'm just trying to figure out like his mentality. Like, obviously, agree, he is a monster. Obviously, a lot of murders happen where you okay, see you later, Seth. Thanks for being here. Yeah, if you see a car backing up, someone is probably murdered in the trunk. Could be. So I'm just wondering, like, why he decided to move her to the trunk. Like, why wasn't she just put there in the first place? Because obviously when she got to the passenger side, which we haven't read anything about how she was put into the passenger seat to begin with, why, I just am trying to figure out, maybe because he thought it was like more sketchy for her to be put in the trunk right away. Obviously that wouldn't look right. So we went to a parking garage and did it, but he drove around for a while with her in the passenger seat. It's just weird. There's probably no reason behind any of this besides just idiotic behavior, and can't make sense of somebody like Stephan Stearns. So I don't know why I'm bothering. Okay, so scrolling down. I'm just like, why not just leave? Why did he not just leave her? Because now he's being seen on camera putting at a place, putting her in the trunk. Whereas if he just left her in the passenger seat and drove to the spot she was dumped at, like, it would be less footage of him doing some. He's just an idiot, obviously. All right, let me read through this other one. Supplemental report. What time we at? Because I do want to play. Okay, 46 minutes. Oh, yeah, she definitely wasn't sleeping. Yeah, she's dumb. She had not gone rigor and was likely flopping around in the seat. Right. And that's the whole thing, too, is like the time frame of when this happened. That's still something that people are very debated on. Some people think it was early that morning, like before she goes to school. So he's dumping her stuff at 7:35. Did something happen like an hour before that? Or was it overnight? That's something I can't really say 100% because I'm, as much as we've looked into rigor mortis and stuff, it's like, we got to figure that out. We got to figure out when things start to stiffen in you when you pass, like from your smaller extremities first. So your hands and your feet and your legs. And then it kind of like works its way throughout your body to bigger like areas where you get stiff. So it's interesting how every single supplemental report that we've read about her has her as limp and slumped over to the left side. So I don't know. We need some medical experts to kind of give us a time frame. I think he thought she'd be seen on cameras in the passenger seat and could pass. She was sleeping off to the cops. Yeah. Right. And he tried that, right? Yeah, what a dumb arse, right? How did he get her out of the home? This blows. Yeah, that's the whole thing I'm wondering too. Like there's no camera of them leaving the condo and going to the car. Like she's strapped in and then she's just seen lumped to the left side on all these footages, but like nobody saw her that morning. Like nobody was going to work themselves or nobody was getting their kids ready for school at that time. It's just very weird. We don't have anybody that comes out and says that they've seen him carrying her or anything to the passenger side. Do we have a time of death yet? No. Yeah, but then the body relaxes. That's true. So, but I think that takes, I want to say that takes days. I don't know. Can't say 100%, but I do think that they have to wait a long time for the rigor to relax. I think. We'll find out. So, Detective Matthew Chiang responded to the address to assist Detective Maria Tagler in reference to a missing persons investigation search warrant. On February 27th, I authored a search warrant to search the residence of the 13-year-old victim, Madeline, located at, and then all that's redacted. The warrant was subsequently signed by, and this is the same Judge Whitehead, review of traffic cameras on February 27th. Through law enforcement resources, I observed the silver Lincoln sedan with Florida license plate traveling through multiple locations in Orange and Osceola County, Florida. The silver Lincoln was registered to Stephan Stearns' father. See, he doesn't even own a dang car, but was primarily used by Stephan Stearns. The information I observed was provided to Kissimmee Police Department. Detective Brandon Lager and Detective Tagler. On the 28th, Detective Ilger, I know I'm mispronouncing their names, sorry about that, and additional information regarding the location of Stephan's vehicle as traveled through St. Cloud and Osceola County. The information obtained was forwarded to Detective Tagler in Orange County Sheriff's Office command post. Search of, and then all that's redacted. On February 28th, I served the search warrant for the address is redacted and assisted Orange County Sheriff's Office forensics unit in searching the apartment. So obviously it's there where they lived. Simultaneously during the search, detectives learned of photographs and videos on Stephan's phone where Stephan appeared to have sexual intercourse with the 13-year-old victim. We were able to locate multiple articles of clothing worn by Stephan and Madeline in the photos. Multiple articles of bedding and towels observed in the photos were located as well. All items were documented and collected by Orange County Sheriff's Office Forensics Unit for evidence. On the 29th, I assisted Osceola County Forensics Unit in collecting additional evidence from, and then all that's redacted. I transported Stephan's cell phone from Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations Building located at 2500 West Colonial Drive, Orlando, Florida, to, and then all that's redacted, to reference the photographs located on the phone during the search. Numerous additional clothing items, towels, and bedding was located inside the apartment located at the above address. One second, guys. Just going to drink some water. Stephan's cell phone remained in my possession and was returned to secured digital evidence locker located at Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations Building after the search. All evidence found at the apartment was documented and collected by Osceola County forensics units. It should be noted, prior to the search of Stephan's apartment, I was advised there were photographs located on Stephan's phones where he appeared to record his roommate. Oh, wow. Their name is redacted. Obviously, they're going to be protected, maybe called to the witness stand. So Stephan was recording his roommate in secret. While at the apartment, I was able to utilize Stephan's phone and recreate the angle and contents of the photographs by placing his cell phone under the crack of, and then that person's name is redacted, bedroom door. I photographed the placement of Stephan's cell phone and uploaded it to evidence.com. So a lot of people were wondering, is Madeline the only, victim of Stephan? A lot of people said, I think there's more. I think there's more. I don't know how old this roommate is, but definitely considering them a victim of Stephan and his perversions, recorded them, in their bedroom without their knowledge. On March 1st, 2024, I assisted Detective Taylor Heller with downloading and conducting an initial review of the Google search warrant, return of Google account belonging to Stephan Sterns. During the initial review, I observed numerous photographs in return, which I had also observed to be located at Stephan Sterns' cell phone as well. On March 4th, 2024, the evidence was transferred on a hard drive to Kissimmee Police Detective Mark Morris. Oh, gosh. Can only imagine the images that these detectives had to view for the sake of, justice that we're seeking for Madeline. Okay. Let's read this. So we started, I think, on page 55-ish. We are now on page 94. Obviously, we skipped some pages that just didn't really have much to share, but I will read this supplemental report, and then we will switch up the screen and pull up a news article about this case, because not only have we been following this case closely since she was a missing child, but Court TV, Vinnie Politan, has been following this very closely as well. and he has some interesting stuff to share on his latest show on this case. So on Wednesday, February 28, 2024, Detective Andrew Calise with the Orange County Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit assisted in investigating in a missing persons juvenile. The juvenile was identified as madelinesoto. The following is Detective Calise's involvement with the case. Detective Calise was tasked with authoring historical phone orders for jennifersoto and stephansterns. So they do have, which we kind of already assumed, that they collected Jen's phone as well. Once the historical phone orders were authored, all orders were reviewed and approved by Honorable Judge Whitehead. Once the orders were approved, they were submitted to the phone companies with the assistance of FDLE. Also on Wednesday, February 28th, Detective Andrew Calise, along with Orange County Sheriff's Office Sex Crimes Detective Luis Acosta, interviewed with, and that's redacted. I want to say it's Jen Soto, but don't know 100. This interview was conducted by Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations Building. The interview was audio recorded and uploaded to evidence.com. The following is a synopsis of the interview. It should be noted Detective Calise did not conduct the entire interview. After answering a few questions, Detective Calise stopped the interview and waited for detectives from Kissimmee Police Department. The following is a synopsis from Detective Calise's interview. During the interview, Jennifer confirmed that Stephansterns lives with her. Oh, I don't know. Actually, I shouldn't guess that redaction. Blank lives with her and that her boyfriend of approximately 7 years was Stephansterns. As the interview continued, Jennifer stated that on rare occasions, Madeline and Stephan slept in the same bed. According to Jennifer, the reason for this is so she can get some sleep because sometimes all three of them sleep in the same bed. Jennifer also confirmed with Detective Calise that she and Stephan had been sexually intimate. Detective Calise presented Jennifer with various images that were recovered from Stephan's cell phone. First image was a hand placed on the buttocks of a white female. After reviewing the image, Jennifer identified this hand belonging to Stephan. Next, Detective Calise showed Jennifer a close-up photograph of a white male member, if you know what I mean. Jennifer viewed the picture but was unable to identify the member. Interesting. Detective Calise then presented Jennifer with another image of a member pulled over a pair of pants. Ugh. Again, Jennifer viewed this image and identified the member as belonging to Stephan. Jennifer believed this was Stephan's member because based on his clothing and the blankets near the member. So she needs clothing and blankets to help herself identify this area on Stephan after being with him for 7 years. A few minutes later, Detective Calise paused the interview with Jennifer and waited for Kissimmee police detectives to respond to the interview so it could continue. Detective Calise did not participate in the interview with Jennifer once Kissimmee detectives arrived. On Thursday, February 29th, Detective Calise, along with other Orange County Sheriff's Office detectives, conducted an extensive area canvass of Old Hickory Tree Road. This canvass was met with negative results. This concludes Detective Calise's involvement in the case. All right, so whose body was it that he had his hand on? The white female. So the first image was a hand placed on the buttocks of a white female. So what we found out in this part 3 is they found clothing. I know, it really is. It's revolting. She knew. Why a mother would let a man sleep with their daughter is we can't figure it out, right? We can't come up with a reason. I have not seen anybody even try to come up with an excuse. Maybe it was Maddie. From reading this, I don't know. Maybe we can conclude it was. She plays dumber than she is, in my opinion. I think so too. So they found clothing near a retention pond. Gray tank top, yellowish shirt that they said was ripped into pieces. They spoke with neighbors who are snowbirds who frequently, would talk to the family. And these people stated that they seen Madeline on Saturday or Sunday walking the dog, and they thought it was weird because usually Jennifer walks the dog. And then what else did we learn? They were able to get the trash. We know that. That wasn't really a hard aspect in this investigation because it hadn't really been collected yet. We see Stephansterns' vehicle driving around on a gas station camera around 9-something. It didn't state what was seen in the windows, but it does say that they're not tinted. And then we know that he put her in the trunk at the Holiday Inn parking garage, also seen on camera. Anything else stick out that we kind of learned about? Yeah, we can't come up with an excuse, and nobody has tried because there really isn't an excuse. There's nothing that we can kind of, oh yeah, he was also recording a roommate without their knowledge. Just a lot of sick stuff like we kind of expected. All right, guys, let's change up our screen and go to, now again, we're not going to play the whole episode. I encourage you guys to watch it. It's right on Court TV. We're just going to watch a little bit, hear from some people who are on the panel and their expertise, or their opinion, I guess I should say. And yes, and we read about that, I think, in part 2. And then there was another detective who views the footage and he writes a supplemental report as well. So in part 2 and 3, we'll hear about him placing her into the trunk. Trying to think what else we learned. Okay, let me play this, and then if something stands out, and you guys share your thoughts also. Yeah, I do think there's more victims. Probably more roommates being recorded too. So imagine being that roommate, finding that out too, that they were seen being recorded by this creep.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second. Okay, I'm going to send it out right now to my other guys.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right. So I'm watching this. Two things strike me right away. The first being the general kind of tone and atmosphere where Jen Soto is, Stephan Sterns, and the rest of their family. There's an eerie calmness in there. Now, I don't know if things were hectic before or things get hectic after. I'm wondering when, and maybe a lot of searching was done before this moment, because this is like, 8 o'clock at night. I don't know. I'm trying to understand that part of it because I don't know.
So what we have read about leading up to this meeting with the officers on body cam was they really didn't drive around that much. They pretty much went to this office building and kind of decided to set up things there and wait for the cops to come to them. So not only have we kind of noticed their kind of relaxed and laxed behavior, but Vinny is noticing it too. Everyone at the tax office was so stoic. Yes. Yeah, I'm still stuck on the numbered rooms. Like, why? Right. Very weird. Yeah, she was running rooms out, but like, why the need to number them? It's just kind of odd. Yeah, her demeanor. No, and how long it takes her to find a picture of her daughter. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, Cindy. She's like scrolling forever. And it's not like Stephan is like, oh, I have one, or, because he obviously doesn't want to whip his phone out. But yeah, so Vinny obviously covers a lot of cases, missing person cases, murder cases, anything that you can imagine related to true crime. And he's saying that they're, oddly calm. Like there's no, like I would be on my hands and knees crying. Like, I don't know what happened. Find my daughter. Here's a picture of her. Like, please. Instead, it's this.
Know what happened before this, and I don't know if there's something that happens after this, but in this moment, everyone's kind of sitting around very calm with a just turned 13-year-old girl missing. That really strikes me here. The other thing is Stephan Sterns. It's tough to look at him. Let me bring in my guests. Joining me in Orlando, Florida tonight, WFTV investigative reporter Shannon Butler. Also with us, retired police commander, host of the Profiling Evil podcast, author of the book Deceived, and all proceeds from the book, this Deceived, are going to Child Victims Center, which is being built. So that's important stuff. Mike King is with us. Let's go straight to Shannon Butler, WFTV investigative reporter. Shannon, your first initial reaction to this first video that we just watched?
Well, my first reaction was the same as yours. I couldn't believe how calm Jen Soto was. We're both parents, Vinny. We both have children. And if my daughter was missing, I don't know that that would be my reaction to that. But when you look at Stephan Sterns, he seems almost uninterested to be there. Like, here we are, it's late, we're sitting here, we're talking to police. His behavior is so strange to me. He doesn't seem alarmed by any of this. It's easy to say that now because we know so much more than we did the day that this video was taken. But their behavior, I think, raises a lot of questions for a lot of people.
Do we know, Shannon, if they had searched the area themselves, earlier in the day, trying to figure out where Madeline could be? Because they know that she didn't go to school. So at this point, it's 12 hours it's about 12 hours that she's missing.
Yeah, there were a lot of questions about what that amount of time. Now, she called police as soon as, that the little girl didn't make it to school. But if you remember, Stephan Sterns was really clear that he didn't do any of the searching. Remember, he said, I don't know what family was doing, but he didn't search at all. At this point, our understanding, there was no, search.
The audio cutting in and out is on her end, I believe. It's not our stream.
To see if she was nearby. I think they were trying to gather what happened. But no, they were not out there, going through the bushes and things like that we know of. We have not been told of any of that. And usually something like that would be hard to even for us not to hear somebody and said, hey, there's a huge search for a little girl this afternoon. We don't see her. But Stephan Sterns was very clear. He didn't search for her.
And he's the one who knows, according to his story, right, exactly where he dropped her off, where he was. How on earth, if that child didn't make it to school, you're not there looking and searching and calling police and calling as many of your friends, if you have any friends, coworkers.
Yeah, and going back to the fact that she decides to email the teachers and wait for a response on her daughter's whereabouts that day. Like he's saying, how are you not, searching around the school? And remember, in her interview, she said they're searching some trails behind the school, but I just don't think they're going to find something along the lines of not thinking that they'll find something, or they're just not going to find her there, or something like that. And it's like, she was so pessimistic about the actions that law enforcement was taking to find her. Do you guys remember that?
everyone together. Let's find, because I know at some point there was a search, right?
And yes, Melly, the grandmother not trying to comfort her daughter, Jen, this says a lot to me. I'm curious what exactly it's saying to you, because to me it's saying, I don't know if she thinks something suspicious with her own daughter, but I think she thinks that her daughter's decision to keep Stephan around was a poor decision. And maybe she's, judging her daughter for leaving this dude around her and her kid. I don't know. Yes, Stephan said he stayed local for his search. Yes. I remember that. You don't search for anyone when you already know where they are, right? It seems like she is stalling them from looking for Maddie. Yeah, it was like she I don't know, she's like, they're checking the woods, but I don't think that they're going to find her there. Oddly enough, she had a text message to a friend saying when she turns 13, she's going to run away to the woods. So why was Jen so like adamant, like, no, that nothing's going to turn up, or nothing has turned up? And then, of course, she says in more than one interview, I think somebody took her. It's like such a strange thing for a mother to just come out saying, like, usually you don't even want to think about that option, or it's kind of told to you that this could be a possibility and you don't want to believe it, or you're just kind of like, I hope that's not it. But instead, she was kind of spinning that narrative in her interviews, I feel. It's saying she is suspicious and isn't fond of Stephan, and perhaps her and Jen don't have a good relationship. Agree. Yes. Yeah, my child is my home screen of my phone and my lock screen. Right. And yet Jen had to search for a couple minutes to find an updated picture of Madeline. Crazy. Turn light. Chris Watts said something, somebody took them. He did. He did. He says, if somebody has them, please bring them back, or something like this. Johnny says, geez, just like Summer Wells' case. How Don claimed he knew someone took her. No need to look. Yeah. They're always so sure. It's like Don is a huge suspect to me in his own daughter's disappearance. Yes, there has been no arrest made in that case. But I definitely think that they're persons of interest for the for TBI. I also think she was trying to stall them when she said shorts and not pants to throw them off, in my opinion. That whole thing is just so weird, right? Like, is it that, or I don't understand, because he says she's wearing black or blue pants, and she interrupts him and says black shorts. And then we've seen in the documents in part 2 that they found black shorts and pink undergarments in his car. And that's another thing. Like, you're going to throw out her laptop and other items, but you're in the tire, but you didn't throw out the shorts and the undergarments. Like, to me, it's like, oh God, why was he keeping them? Like, and this is all just coming to me live right now. Like, sickening that he's keeping undergarments in black shorts instead of throwing them out with everything else he threw out. Yes. Oh my God. I know I paused it. Like, she looks very scary in a lot of like still frames. The body language was very obvious in that whole tax office. Yeah. Yeah, her eyes are like a deer caught in the headlights. Yep. I've seen that firsthand. And the deer decided not to run, thank God. They always blame someone else when they know exactly what happened. Right. It's this dude over here. Don't look at me. Like, I'm telling you, someone took her. It must be somebody else. I don't know who, though.
At some point, there's a search.
Well, it wasn't like a community search. You know, we've seen with other cases how you get the community out and they start doing searches. Police do what's called a grid search in those kinds of areas. But this didn't happen in this case, which was really interesting. There was not huge search parties. So it was very clear from the beginning that those investigators already knew that there was no reason to look for her, at least alive, in that general vicinity. Remember, they had video very early in this case, and they had already believed that Madelinesoto was dead. At that point, immediately it turned into, we hope that someone gives us a tip so we can find where Madelinesoto might be. And in the end, that's exactly what happened. But this was not a case where we had huge search parties.
Still to come.
The thing that really jumped out.
Okay. Hi there.
Hey there.
Hey there. What's going on?
So my daughter was dropped off close to school this morning, but never made it. I went to her to school.
I'm sorry, one second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Ugh, just sickens me. Like her whole demeanor, body language. So then she looks over this way, like, yeah, she even sways back and forth like Chris Watts did. And it's like, what do we know about that type of body language? It's self-soothing. Do we know what exactly she's trying to soothe herself over? Stuff that she knows, or she's, upset that her daughter's missing. I would like to say that it's because her daughter's missing, but there's no tears. There's no hysterics. There's nothing like, she's got her hand in her pocket, for God's sakes. I don't know. It's almost like she's like telling the officer about like a car accident. So what's going on here? So, I was driving and then this person came and hit me and then, but it's not. We're not talking about a car accident. We're talking about your missing kid and you're, looking down at her phone when he says 1 minute. Like I would be like staring at the officer to hurry up and like complete his little walkie-talkie like conversation and get right into it. There are other kids in the tax office, right? Yeah, they're her cousins. Jen may be more psychopathic, sociopathic than Stephan. There are a lot of homicidal couples in true crime history. They bond over their collective mental pathologies. Stephansterns friends from his childhood. Definitely could be. I think she's stressed of getting caught. It means she's caught in the crosshairs. I would have been bawling and begging for them to find her. Right. Stephansterns' childhood friends said any girlfriends that lasted more than a few weeks were as twisted as he was. I believe it.
Are we looking for another kid or we have a kid?
Looking.
Look at her face. Oh my God. When the officer on the other end says, are we looking for another kid or we found the kid? She looks scared. Like she looks like, she's like, wait a minute, what? I don't know. Like, do you guys see that? Hold on, let me rewind it. And we've heard this before. We've gone through this body camera stuff, but like they slowed it down in this segment. And like, she looks like she's thinking she's caught right there. If they found her.
Go ahead, sir.
Are we looking for another kid or we have a kid?
Looking for another one.
Alright, so people are still on the team. Let's list that out. Any hospital location, how long?
I'm trying to get there right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
So she was supposed to be dropped off at school, didn't make it to school.
Didn't make it to school. I went to pick her up from school today, and she never came out. They announced it over the speaker, and I'm just like, maybe she walked here, because sometimes she'll walk here to this office. I came here, nothing. I went back to the school, they were closed. I got a notice, an email from the school saying she was absent, but I also messaged her teacher, and he looked at her entire attendance today and saw that she was completely not at school today either.
Okay.
So she never made it.
It's like around where these communities were.
I just feel like she's way too calm explaining all that. And she pretty much said right there that she went to the school, didn't see her, and drove to this office to see if she had walked over here. That's the extent of the search that Jen seemed to have done for her daughter who is missing. And that look right there, she was swaying and looking at the cop. Yes. Yes. The swaying started when the other cop said, are we looking for another kid or have we found one? And then all of a sudden she's got this like look on her face like, oh crap, do they know? Again, that's my opinion. We really don't know what's going on in her head, obviously, but it did look a little weird. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, it's like she was memorizing a script from a play. Right. When she starts off the whole conversation, so she knows what happened, if not planned it, calls him overnight before, doesn't take her to school, lies about seeing her and Madeline. One crock was in her room. Was the one crock in her room? I hadn't read that yet. We heard that one of them was found in the trash. So I don't know if we just haven't gotten to that page in the documents yet, Katie, or what. But I never read that one of the Crocs was in her room. I wonder if they ever looked at her phone. Yes, Allison, we just read hello, and she's saying hello to everybody. Earlier in this stream, maybe around 30 minutes ago, we read a page that pretty much shows that they did gather both their phones. Yeah, wouldn't you be running into the school, calling the mom's office? Right. No, she emails. She's waiting for emails back. We can only surmise that Stephan has been an utter turd his whole life. No job, no car, mooching off his girlfriend and his parents, and being a freaking, yeah, this guy. I know, he's right up there with Chris Watts. And Rex Huerman, just this sick individual. Email is not emergency when you're done. Right. Well, let me just send a little email. That's like the equivalent, only it takes even more time and sometimes longer for people to respond from an email than it does for a text message. So would you guys send text messages to people if your kid was missing? No.
Okay.
And it's just like in this stretch, like we could see the overpass down there.
Where's the school?
Just on the other side of the overpass.
So somewhere around here.
So yeah, somewhere, maybe not this one, but the next one possibly is right in this stretch. We just came down and we drove about halfway down. She was like, that's good right here.
When was the last time you seen her? Do you know around what time?
Around 8:30, 8:40 when we dropped her off.
How tall is she?
5'1".
Wait.
And again, the way that Stephan says when we dropped her off, it's like Jen wasn't there with you. And yet Jen doesn't say like, well, I was home because I was getting ready to go to a doctor's appointment, but he dropped her off. You know, there's nothing that kind of reiterates the truth of what she at least signed in her sworn police interview. In the police interview, she didn't drop off Madeline. She never even saw her that morning. Stephan did. She had a doctor's appointment around 10 something and didn't get up really until 9 something.
110 pounds.
Or 110, 100.
Hair color?
Blonde.
Blonde, like that. Dirty blonde.
Like a dirty blonde? Okay. Eye color?
Blue.
Does she have any markings on her, like any scars or anything like that?
There's a distinctive beauty mark on her face
On her
here.
face?
On the face, like below the nose or near the nose?
Yeah, like right in that area there. It's very distinctive. You'd know it if you saw it. Big.
Any other scars or anything like that?
Scars?
No.
Tattoo.
No.
You'd be surprised.
We have a very strong bond. But, you know, I'm the person she goes to when her mom gets in a fight with her and she needs someone to comfort her. Like, I'm that person for her, you know. This girl knows nothing but love here in this house.
Disgusting. This girl knows nothing but love here in this house. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Tony. She was wasting time because she knew Maddie was already gone already. So that's why she decides to email the teachers, you know? Like there was no sense of urgency, pretty much. She's giving more time for Stephan to do whatever he had to do, possibly.
Everyone has the right to remain silent, but when you report your own child missing, that's the last thing you're going to do. So when you do tell your story, the question is, does it make sense? We have Mike King with us now. Mike, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. We're looking at this. We looked at this first video, the initial contact in person that's made by deputies. Interested in your initial reaction here, right? This is at this point, purportedly a missing child case. Your thoughts about Jen Soto, Steph Stearns, and this initial contact that is made?
You know, Vinny, I felt like I was watching a rerun of the missing boys in California and the mom and the dad, or at least the foster parents as they got up. The thing that really jumped out at me was that we talk about crime scene staging, but this is more story staging because she stepped right up with a story that seemed like she'd rehearsed a little bit. It may have even been in cue with what she was directed to say. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if there's some coercive relationship going on between the two as this thing unfolds. But he stands back kind of watching, and boy, you can tell how unhappy he is about being there. But she starts right off with a story that she's already prepared. We dropped her off at school. It was a little bit early. We watched her walk away. And all the other staging that we heard Stern going through with, hey, I'm a good guy. I took her to McDonald's. She didn't want it. I said goodbye. I love you. Oh, by the way, she said, I love you too, as she gets out. All of that verbal staging really jumped out at me, Vinny.
It's hard to judge people you don't know. If you haven't heard them speak or witnessed their body language before, it can be a real challenge to get a true feel for who they are and whether or not they're telling the truth. The problem for Stephan Stearns is that the story he told seems pretty easy to prove false. As a result, Stephan Stearns will be judged by 12 people he doesn't know inside a courtroom at his trials. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank
All right. First off, loving Vinny in black. We rarely ever see him in black. I don't buy the McDonald's story, not for one bit. Right. She wanted McDonald's, or even worse, in Stephan's interview, or Jen's, gosh, I think it was Jen's. She mentioned that they were supposed to go to some special breakfast. Like, what the heck? And then in his interview, he's like, oh, we were going to go to there, and then she decided not to, and then I tried to sell her on it again, and she said no, and she was sleeping. Like, right. Missed you, Amber. I've been really ill. Oh no, I hope you're feeling better, Carol. I'm so happy to be back and seeing you covering this tragic case. It's dark. It's a dark one. Yes, in any color, right? But yeah, you guys should check out Vinny Politan's own YouTube channel, because it's totally different. Like, even though he tries to say like, oh, I'm the same, like on Court TV and here, it's more laid back. There's no denying that he's more laid back on his own channel, and it's just a good vibe over there. And Melly Wrench is over there as well, so it's good chat. Just a lot of weird stuff we kind of have read through tonight. We'll be going through more because we haven't even gotten to the interviews with her friends. I know they've been reported on Court TV, but we're going to read them ourselves. And we'll get into more of these files in the future. So this is only part 3. There's a lot to go through. Yeah, Tony, isn't it great? He did really interesting streams today and last night on Karen Reed. And again, I'm trying to hear back from Jay and Valerie, my moderators. I want to do a Karen Reed panel tomorrow night. Want to just discuss the case with them live. So I hope you guys join us for that. I know a lot of people followed the Karen Reed case. It was a lot to follow. I did a few live streams on it here and there, but truthfully, I enjoyed watching Melanie Little's and Court TV's and Vinnie Politan's reporting on the trial more than I, decided to cover it myself as much as I have. There are a few streams, though, that we did here. And I just figured I would do like a end of the trial stream with them. So hopefully I can hear back from them and plan that for tomorrow night. If they don't join me, maybe I'll go by myself. Oh, Roro's coming in from Melissa Jade's channel. Thank you guys for being here. We are closing up, but if you guys who are rating our chat want to just hit the like button, it's as good as being here the whole time in my eyes. So I appreciate you guys. Yeah, the 2 experts today, though, it was intense, wasn't it? Maddie's school friends had a lot to say. Some reported to teachers and counselors. Yes. Actually surprised Stephan didn't try and run, right? He does seem like, well, I guess he couldn't get very far with that donut on his car. Because after he changed his flat tire, like we seen in one picture that it was like that spare, I call it a donut, but it's just like that smaller tire that you just put on. You're only supposed to go, I think, like 30 miles on it. All right. Yes. Tomorrow is going to be wild. Yes, it is. So I really want to discuss it with you guys tomorrow night. Yes. Thank you so much, Brady, and everyone else for being here. Hit that thumbs up button and join me tomorrow night. I'm trying to go live every night this week. I got a lot of good feedback from me doing more than one Watts live last week. So maybe I'll do Thursday and Friday again with the Watts deep dive. It is crazy kind of seeing some similarities in Stephan and Jen Soto, comparing them to Chris Watts. I know that it's one of those cases that a lot of people are like, oh, it's just like Chris Watts. There is a lot of similarities, I feel, in this one. All right. Sounds good, guys. So appreciate you guys. So will the verdict be tomorrow, you think? Or closing arguments, I think, are tomorrow? How long you think it'll take for that verdict? Let me know your thoughts. Justin, Jane, you have a great night too. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I want to thank my moderators. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate everything you do. Closing is limited time, so maybe verdict. Maybe. We shall see. Then we'll discuss it tomorrow night. So I'll see you guys later. Do you know what time tomorrow? So it depends on what the hubby says when, I hear thumping around upstairs. So obviously she's not asleep yet. Yeah, he takes over bedtime so I can go live. So sometimes it's 7:30 I can go. Sometimes it's 8 to 9-ish. So somewhere around there, I'll try to make the stream beforehand so you guys get sort of a heads up. But somewhere in the evening, of course, because I can no longer do morning lives like I did when she was in the crib. She kind of got out. She broke free. So maybe in the future I can do morning live chats again, but not right now. So good night, everybody. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk tomorrow. So bye.